Well, thank you very much for coming, and it's our final presentation of the day. We're excited to be here. We're Team 12, and we've got some exciting opportunities for growth for Televerde. So our task was really to identify a disempowered group that Televerde can work with and improve the lives of, as well as identifying new business areas and opportunities for expansion and driving that revenue growth. But we also wanted to think about how we can leverage some of the tenets of conscious capitalism as Televerde moves forward in this process. So our solutions are twofold. First, we identified individuals in therapeutic communities, which are long-term rehabilitation facilities for substance abuse, as a great opportunity for expansion and improving the lives of those individuals. We've also identified the rapidly growing construction technology market as a great place to expand your services into a new marketplace. So I'll dive a little bit deeper into both of those. So substance abuse causes huge problems and impacts communities negatively in a variety of ways. Areas where substance abuse is high show higher rates of crime, higher rates of hospitalization, and more instances of child abuse and child neglect. However, therapeutic communities are taking a holistic approach of supporting individuals with substance abuse and addiction problems to improve their lives and reduce those rates. I want to specify that therapeutic communities are not short-term detox centers. They're long-term approaches to improving the lives of these individuals and making sure that they get treatment for their addiction problems. One of the best opportunities, or one of the best programs I've seen in this area is TROSA. TROSA's out of Durham, North Carolina. I had the opportunity to work with them over the summer. Individuals at TROSA spend 2 years in these services. They get education, legal services, as well as, most importantly, vocational training. So they start their careers doing administrative work, and then they work their way up towards client-facing roles. Individuals at TROSA are 2 times more likely to remain sober after their 2 years, and 3 times more likely to remain employed. So TROSA, as well as 14,000 other therapeutic communities, exist in America and are trying to make that impact for over 2.5 million people seeking treatment. We believe that Televerde can use its current vocational training program in these therapeutic communities to drive that impact. As for the marketplace, so the global construction industry is $10 trillion and growing at 2% each year. However, it's highly fragmented. Analysts believe that there's over $1.6 trillion in cost savings to be had, which is why a lot of these organizations are investing in technology. In the last 5 years, over $18 billion has been invested in technology. So we believe that entering into these markets, utilizing Televerde's existing skills in lead acquisition, telemarketing, and other marketing services would be a great opportunity for expansion. And Rob's going to talk to you a little bit about our plans of expansion.
Thanks, Adrian. So I want to be very clear that we're talking about 2 separate initiatives when we talk about therapeutic centers and construction technology. And really our selection criteria as we went through possible constituents that we could hire or different industries that we could serve is what's the lowest cost per acquisition on that pivot and on that shift. So highlighting the similarities between therapeutic centers and our existing population in prisons, they are typically on the lower end of the socioeconomic scale. They have challenges maintaining and finding employment because of their situation. And ultimately, they're really trying to improve themselves with this initiative by signing up 2 years of their lives to make a concerted change in their lives. And that vocational piece that Televerde has is the opportunity to really hit that goal of impacting 10,000 lives over the next 10 years. So it's obviously an iterative process with pilots and working not on both the different therapeutic centers as you move it forward, but our goal really was to find something that we can apply our existing expertise in rather than trying to reinvent the wheel as we find new constituents. And then on the construction technology side, it is a fast-growing market that requires technology, and then is also a B2B function, which again falls in the avenue of what our existing customer service and our existing employment can handle. So as we look at the go-to-market plan, really the marketing mix, the only thing that changes is that promotion piece, which again falls into Televerde's existing core competencies, redeveloping those new personas for Tech Bro Ben that works at construction technology firm, or Old Time Sawyer that does everything pen and paper, and developing that A/B testing where our employees can find a way to hit the levers that really drives that change as we grow into these new and exciting markets. So sizing up the market, we identified Catera here locally as a prime opportunity to hit the ground running, moving into the construction technology space. They are $1 billion revenue company in the construction technology space. We made the assumption of a 1% fee on top of any closed business that Televerde could capture. And that illustrates $10 million annually alone just with Catera. Expanding into apartment constructions, last year in the United States, 250,000 units were constructed at an average cost of $95,000 to $100,000 per unit. Again, at that 1% fee, that's $1,000 per unit, which rolls up to $250 million market potential as Televerde moves into that space, which again, that drives impact in local communities and across the board. And Savannah will touch a little bit more on the stakeholder piece of that. So how do we get there? What are some of the levers that we can pull? With Marags coming on board, we've seen a concerted effort to grow the social media presence of Televerde. However, we recognize that there's still opportunities there for us with 300 followers on YouTube, 2,000 followers on Twitter. We would really like to see a couple more zeros at the end of those follower accounts, just so we have that reach where we can promote ourselves, the benefit that we're bringing with the partnering with therapeutic centers, partnering with construction technology. Our goal is much like corporate social responsibility, to have an impact report that we can use as a marketing piece to internal and external stakeholders that really demonstrates the good that we're bringing to the communities in which we're serving, really leveraging the tenets of conscious capitalism. So with that, Savannah's going to talk more about our stakeholders.
All right. Thank you. All right, so like Rob said, in keeping with the tenets of conscious capitalism, we really have to evaluate all of our stakeholders, both external, external, and then the unintended, maybe public stakeholders. So first off, the internal stakeholders will benefit from created opportunities in terms of increased opportunities for further employment, increased opportunities to work in different areas. But really on the external stakeholders, we want to focus on the opportunities for those future employees. The people at the therapeutic communities will benefit in very similarly the same way that incarcerated women do. They'll have an increased sense of purpose and they'll have a reduced risk of relapse. In conjunction with this, this will in turn increase the economic value available to their own local communities, as well as reduce crime and reduce those hospitalization rates, which has a great impact on our public stakeholders, which is incredibly important. Additionally, the construction technology companies that we are talking about, they're really focused on that $1.6 trillion in cost savings that is available in the construction technology or construction industry as a whole. They're really aimed at reducing waste, both in terms of materials spent, in terms of just sheer costs, and as well as time. So companies like Catera are able to reduce the time spent to build a multi-unit structure from 15 months down to 4 months, which really could have a great impact on the current housing shortage crisis that exists in many communities. So in addition to that, it is important to realize that with so many stakeholders, we've only had time to touch on a few, it's more than probable that there will be a few conflicts in between them. And we really just want to highlight on one of them. One of the main conflicts that could exist is that Televerde's current clients feel that they're not getting that personalized attention anymore, that they're not getting that personal client need focus. So we want to reiterate that to our current clients as a mitigation strategy. We want to reiterate to them that we are giving them one dedicated representative. And in addition to that, in reinforcing that promise, we want to make sure that we are reporting monthly to them and being as transparent as possible as we roll out these initiatives. So with that, we would like to thank you guys all again for sitting through all of these presentations. I know it's been a lot. And we just want to reiterate that our strategy is really focused on partnering with therapeutic communities, excuse me, partnering with therapeutic communities because of the opportunities that exist to create economic value to them and to the communities, as well as to pursue construction technology industry as a new market because of the financial opportunities that exist for Televerde. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sitting here feeling really ignorant right now. I spent a career in mining construction, and my son-in-law is in construction, and I have no idea what construction technologies are. I have no idea what does Katera do, and what are other examples of that. And then understanding that, maybe how do we sell into that? But I don't understand the industry at all, and I should.
Absolutely. So Katera specifically kind of is a company that brings together all the different aspects that are involved in construction and really reduces it down to, instead of having distributors, dealers, subcontractors, general contractors, at which each different step there could be flaws of the general contractor goes back and says, oh, that actually doesn't work based off of this figure, this figure, this figure. Katera cuts all that out and can, therefore, that's how they reduce the construction time from that 15 months down to 4 months. And then if you want more broadly on what construction tech does, there is an entire huge marketplace of things that exist within the construction tech. Some of them are around deep learning and equipment marketplaces, value engineering, business information modeling, which is kind of like gathering data. A lot of old construction companies do a lot of paper things and aren't really tracking things as closely, so aren't taking advantage of the data that exists.
Intimately familiar with everything on that screen. I just have no idea. That's not. I mean, I'm not saying it's not there. It's just I'm just highly intrigued. And more, how Televerde, is this even an industry? How do you sell? What's Televerde selling in there?
So all of these companies, each industry here has a different technology application. So some may have an application that they provide information about where each truck is in the system. And that application they provide to different construction companies so they're better able to manage their resources. So that's kind of one example of just all the different opportunities that exist within construction in order to create a more efficient process. And there are dozens of construction tech companies that are being created every year.
It sounds a bit like the MarTech space. The same way there's 6,000 marketing and sales technologies. My question is, what is their current go-to-market model and how would we disrupt it? Or anyone that sells construction technology.
So Katera, it's connecting them. Sorry, it's connecting them ultimately to their end clients. So the developers that are wanting to develop these new construction places. So where Televerde would come in is that lead development or that sales pipeline, again, and then following through with the consulting side of Televerde. I apologize.
So who's doing it today?
So to tag on to that, I think I have it here somewhere. Oh, it doesn't have it here. But currently in the construction industry, it's a very, very highly fragmented arena. It's based a lot of just on who you know and who you've worked with previously. So it's a lot of just personal relationships. I forget the actual number on exactly how many there are, but it's really just, I've worked with Rob before. And if someone asked me, do you know someone that can lay grout and tile? Well, I worked with Rob before. Here, let me give you his card. It's very fragmented, and a lot of companies tend to work with just the same people they worked with historically.
To answer your question on Katera, I don't have that off the top of my head. It's something I can find out and definitely let you know if they do it in-house or if it's third party. Any other questions?
I'm just intrigued, as it is very much relationship based. It is, and but then there's bidding lists, and it's easy to find lists of qualified bidders, and I'm just not sure what and this, I'm on such a learning curve here. I'm not sure how this is going to be disrupted, or how we Televerde are going to sell into this. And so I'm just, I don't know enough to even, I'm trying to ask questions. I don't know enough about what this is going to do.
So you're not supposed to ask questions of the judges, but I want to try to extract what your concern is. Are you struggling with what Televerde does for Catera, or are you struggling with what Catera does for its clients?
Well, it's kind of both, because if I know more there are massive potential savings in the construction industry. There's no question about that. There's everything costs more, takes longer to do. There is so much relationship based that goes on that it doesn't seem to me that it lends itself to a telemarketing sort of a solution. And so that's where I'm trying to get the connection there. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I can easily not know things that are in that market.
So I might suggest, let's set aside the Catera value proposition for just a second. Can you guys just describe what Televerde is doing for Catera and how that's different from what they're doing for their existing customers? Is it exactly the same? Is it SaaS services,
it's the
marketing,
exact same
same capabilities, just for a
Correct.
construction technology vendor?
It's that lead development, that filling out the sales pipeline, acting as Catera's inside sales function or customer service function.
And to reiterate, we're using Catera as an example of the kind of industries that exist in construction tech. There are tons of construction techs that are just getting past their funding startup and are really exploding, and they don't have that large sales team yet. They don't know how to do sales yet. So they're just starting out, and they have nowhere to start in this large construction industry, and they could really benefit from a lead generation company.
So it sounds like, and I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but Televerde could take our skills in selling technology and bring that to an industry that is being disrupted by technology, but our ability to talk about technology and the impact it has on business is probably our differentiator as to why somebody would talk to us. Am I correct?
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Excellent rephrasing. Thank you.
Does that answer your question? Does that make it a little more clear?
I'm just highly intrigued, and I'm going to leave here, and I'm going to
Have tons of references if you'd like further reading.
I'm going to learn something.
I really saw the model that you were basically going to take this concept, and the companies that were utilizing that concept were going to hire Televerde, and Televerde was going to sell that concept.
Whether you're doing drones or whatever. Yeah.
So I have a question, and it's based on the partner. And that is, one of the things that intrigued me about the way you were describing the model is that the partner agencies would be able to help support the employee because they are there for 2 years. So all of the wraparound services, similar to what Arrowette does, are offered by that partner. And that's what supports the ROI for Televerde. Okay.
Do you want to speak to that? Yeah.
So what we're envisioning is Televerde taking on that vocational training part by partnering with those therapeutic communities. The therapeutic communities will provide all of the other services, the legal services, the counseling services. Televerde will do the vocational training and in-house actual hiring of those individuals.
Does that agency, do they have the demographics on all of the people involved so that you could actually target those that came from construction potentially?
I would think so. They do. TROSA itself does very thorough interviews to make sure that these individuals are aligned with TROSA's mission of, they'll last the full 2 years. They're really invested in improving their own lives. So they do ask about employment histories. Yeah.
We have time for just one more question.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.